Let's go, baby. We are live Monday, November 13th, 2023. MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Martin, joined by my co-host, Mr. Big Marcel. And we're going to be recapping UFC 295 today, guys. And who's this guy, Mr. Big Marcel? We're looking forward to talking about this card. Marcel, what's going on, man? How was your weekend? I'm assuming it was good. It was a great card, right? So.
Yeah, my weekend was good, man. Pretty busy, gotta say, man. A little bit too busy, if you ask me. But yeah, card was good. I think we're a lot. There wasn't a worse fight on the card, pretty much. I pretty much enjoyed all fights. So if that happens, and that's rare, you always have like one bad fight on the card. I think UFC 290 was kind of the same, but I think you had maybe one or two fights that were like really good, and over here you had like barely any bad fights. So it was a really good card. Enjoyed it. Kind of surprised by the lack of 30-year anniversary the UFC put time in. I think they should have done more with that. But yeah, the card was good. So I mean, not much to complain, I guess.
Got some comments. We got some guys in the chat already. Appreciate you guys joining us tonight, as always, Monday evenings. Glenn's always first. Like I would say, honestly, myself, like all the podcasts we've done, he's been in like most of the chats, especially the Monday ones, and then he's probably been the first comment most of the time. We appreciate you, brother. Knox, what's up, man? FG, what's up, man? Good evening to the dynamic duo. Love it. Octagon updates, another regular. Pato, what's up, buddy? Oh, card was awesome. Joe, what's up, man? Another guy that's always here, Marcel, every Monday. Was UFC 295 a 10 out of 10? I would say it's close to it. Like, again, I don't throw 10s that often, right? Like, I would think a 10 is like, man, that's...
Right. The problem with a 10 is that when you see a card that's even better, you cannot give an 11, So I always go 9.5 if I think it's a really good. So I go 9.5.
Yeah, like, the one card I was thinking about that's like I would say most people would give like a 10 is that UFC 189, Conor versus Mendez, Lawler versus McDonald. There was a bunch of other finishes on the card. That, like, to me, that's kind of like one of those, like, because you had like multiple great fights. Same with what was a great card, Marcel? UFC 139 in San Jose. Dan Henderson for Shogun, but the co-main event also one fight of the night. That was Wanderlei Silva Kung Lee. That fight was amazing too. So like, those kind of cards where you have like multiple like fight of the nights at the top, those to me are like kind of reserved for the 10 out of 10. Again, I'd have to like think back. There's probably some cards I'm missing, obviously. But I mean, this card was great. Like I would say at least a 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, right? Like this is about as good as it gets. So there's not much really to say bad about this card. I think there was a few prelim fights that I didn't love, like just a few, but mostly it was a fucking amazing card. I mean, if you like MMA, even if you don't like MMA, so first time watching, you would love this card. I should mention, Marcel. So I watch most of the cards just by myself now, at home. I used to go out to the bars some back in the day, or I'd have people at my house like James Lynch. Me and him. He lived in Toronto, Marcel. You would have loved it too if you lived here. We had him, myself, a couple other friends, Marcel, Carlin Bardsley, a couple other guys, Brad Taschuk. We would like watch the fights together. It was awesome. Like I miss watching with like really knowledgeable people, but at the same time, that's what it is right now. But I went to the bar where I had some drinks with my friends, watched the fights. Bar was pretty busy. A lot of people watching the fights. Got one tweet on the screen, and a couple of the guys that were with me. I've known these guys my whole life, but I haven't seen them. Like so, it's like my friend Sam. Me and him used to train Muay Thai together. Marcel. He's actually still competing a little bit. He's like, I want to say he's like. I think he's like 3-1. He's an amateur kickboxer. So like, he's been doing it on and off for like 10 years. He's a good friend of mine. He's like, he come out, watch the fights. And I'm glad he did, because Marcel, like, even though I ended up spending the same amount as a pay-per-view, like what it cost, I got some beer out of it and had some wings too. And got to watch with some friends. And man, like I went crazy during those last couple of fights. For me, Marcel, like this was a great card. I only got one pick wrong on the whole card. Mackenzie Dern. Fuck it. The one fight that I thought I had, like the
one you was most confident in, yeah.
Well, really, like Robeski over Roberts in the end. But if you ask me, like, I think on Monday I said, like, of all the fights, this is the one. That's the one I get fucking wrong. So like that sucked, But overall, I got one wrong. I think you did pretty well, right?
Yeah, I mean, but the thing with me is like, I like to watch with friends, but for some reason I don't want to be a cunt. I really like to be watching alone, because I don't get distracted. You know what I mean? So I like to watch alone mostly. But yeah. But by the way, You got the main event right, so we got.
I don't probably what's Audio, what's up, brother? There we go. I got basically both the main events right.
Yeah.
There was a great card for you, Marcel. I mean, very, very good card. I only got the one wrong, and then there was the one draw, obviously. Let's get some comments here, guys. Can't wait to recap. Yeah, we're gonna get into it in a sec. How much of a downgrade is this week's card? Well, I mean, it's a fight night. I think the card this weekend is not bad, actually, but I mean, it's not, like this card. I thought how the end ruined it. The anticlimactic. Okay, we'll talk about those fights. Main cards. Yeah, it was a great card. Antoine, what's up, brother? John, what's up, brother? Great card. Yeah, it was good. Let's get into it, guys. Start with the main event. Marcel, Alex Pereira knocks out Jiri Prochazka. Second round knockout. Personally, Marcel, I think the stoppage was it was a slightly early for sure, but I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the fight. If the guy was in full mount, he was going to destroy him with elbows and punches. He basically was. And Jiri, I think, has admitted he was basically out, and he didn't have a problem really with the stoppage. If Jiri doesn't, then I don't. Yuri's also a warrior, so I wouldn't say anything. But yeah, I mean, we know Mark Goddard, Marcel, he tends to stop fights earlier rather than later. Like the Colby Covington fight with Usman. Although I want to say, Marcel, was he the ref in the Frankie Edgar Korean Zombie fight the next week? Was it him?
I don't know.
I gotta see who the ref was for that fight. But anyways, let's getting back to this one. Yeah, I mean, it was
this guy right here really gonna ask me a question about the last card I didn't see live.
It was Goddard. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. He can be consistent. He was the ref on that card.
Right.
But anyways, we also got Craig in the chat too. What's up, brother? Yeah, I mean, Pereira is he's incredible, and you know what, Marcel, he's also very undervalued. Again, basically only a small favorite in this fight. Basically a pick. I think it actually closed at -110. If you look at his record in UFC, he beat Jan, I believe. I think he was the underdog in that fight. He was the underdog to Izzy. I think he was the underdog to Strickland. Really, he was only favored over Michailidis and Silva, I believe. So, what's funny, Marcel? In a way, the Andreas Michailidis guy actually, if you think about it, he actually put Pereira in some worse spots than all these other guys. Izzy, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I mean, he's incredible. I think if you talk about best combat sports athletes of all time, it's hard not to have Alex Pereira at that Mount Rushmore. He's 7 fights into his UFC career and has 2 titles in 2 different weight classes. He has wins over former or current champions Adesanya, Prochazka, Blachowicz, and of course Strickland. The win over Bruno Silva, I think Bruno was top 15 at the time. That's a good win too. And then the debut with that crazy flying knee. It's really incredible what he's done in 2 years. And he keeps fighting in New York and kills it in New York. Three knockout wins in his 3 New York fights. I'm a huge Pereira fan, Marcel. I love this guy. I love him and Glover, that tag team. It's you almost have if you combine them, you'd have the best striker ever at 205 probably, and the best submission guy ever at 205. Now, of course, John Jones is the best overall heavyweight, Marcel. But if you combined Glover and Pereira, you'd have a mythical beast. Even as it stands, though, man, the guy's incredible. Marcel, give me your thoughts on this fight main event.
I mean, first round, Pereira hit him with hard leg kicks, man, dude. Prochazka kept coming forward. So the moment, I think he took him down, but Pereira got up late in the round, I guess. Prochazka got the first round, in my opinion. Second round, I think Prochazka got a little bit wild, and he was launching forward to Pereira. Was putting pressure on Pereira, but Pereira waited and he got the perfect shot, knocked him down, went after him. Prochazka tried to take him down, and Pereira put elbows on his head. Went backwards, Prochazka, and he came in full mount, and Goddard came in. Yeah, the thing is, do I think that Jiri would have won? No, I don't think he would come back, but Goddard should have let it go 2-3 seconds more, for the simple reason, in my opinion, you see a lot of people talking about it, that it was too early of a stoppage, and it pretty much takes the shine away from Pereira's win, in my opinion, so he should have let it go a little bit more. I mean, good performance by Pereira, man. What else can you say? I think he's good, and for some reason, in the back of my mind, I say I'm still not super convinced that he is the best 205er in the world, and that's because I still feel like he hasn't been really tested on the ground or wherever he fought. I think he fought mostly strikers in the UFC, Jan tried to take him to the ground. He got him that first round, then got exhausted and couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
He fought Jiri. Jiri is also more of a guy who loves to stand up. He took him down the first round, but still, I mean, he doesn't have that control that a lot of people have on the ground. And the thing is, like, I think, listen, man, Pereira, if you match him up with Jamal Hill, I think Jamal Hill, for example, he's a more all-around. So I want to see that fight. Can he win against Jamal Hill? If Jamal Hill has that same game plan where he can take you to the ground, I don't know, man. We'll see. For example, Ankalaev fight against Pereira, I think if Pereira cannot hit him, for example, Ankalaev can take him to the ground, I think he's in big trouble. So for me, it's like, he's good, but we also got to see, like, he got the opportunities continually at the right time. You know what I mean? So good for him. He won the fights. He deserved, in my opinion, the title because he beat Jiri, clearly. But he was there at the right time, the whole damn time. So, I mean, there's also something to say about that. But, hey, good for him. Like I said, I didn't like the stoppage, but I don't think it would have made any difference. But, it just, I mean, what do you want to talk about? A great win? Or like he should have stopped it a little bit later, I think a lot of people, I think you see also on social media, and also fighters, a lot of fighters say also like this should have been going a little bit longer. And then people saying Jiri said he was okay. Yeah, Jiri's not going to say anything. He's like, how do you say that? A real, he's like you say, a warrior. He's not going to say anything bad. So, but good win for Pereira. All credits to him. And I want to see what's next. I think should be Jamal Hill. I don't need to see the Adesanya third fight, to be really honest. But maybe down. How do you say that later? But not right now. I think Jamal Hill. He said to us he's done or he's ready in the second quarter of 2024. I mean, makes a lot of sense. The first 3 events for the pay-per-views have been booked since last week. So the 4th pay-per-view event is like 300 or 301. You can put it in the co-main event or either a main event. I don't care, man. People are so like 300 should be Conor. I don't give a shit. I mean, if you do a Jamal against Pereira, I would be cool with that as well. So we'll see.
Well, Leon's asking for the winner of Strickland.
Oh, let me talk about that thing as well for a second, man, Adam. I got really annoyed by all these fighters now want to be double champion. In my opinion, and that's just my opinion, I put a lot more how do you say that? Baggage, into being like, for a Volkanovski, for example,
GSP.
Who then goes to a lightweight title after like 3 or 4 defenses. Then, after one fight, I want to, dude. It's so annoying, and it clogs up divisions as well. And for me, it's like it doesn't. By the way, the champ status doesn't hold the same baggage anymore for me than it had like a couple of years ago, and it didn't have with Conor already, Listen, with Cormier defended both belts, no problem with that, Cejudo defended both belts, no problem with that. Nunes defended both belts, no problem with that. Conor never defended the fucking belt, But for example, why do we need to do this continually? And definitely when there are actual legit contenders in the division. If Leon wins against Colby, he can fight Shavkat, he can fight Bilal. I don't care. People were saying Gary is not there yet, in my opinion. But if Shavkat wins against Thompson, either Bilal or Shavkat would be well, in my opinion. But yeah, all these guys want to have double champion status. I don't put too many stock in it if you have only one defense or either non-defense and you go for a double champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. Let me just get some of the comments, guys. Obviously, we just talked about that main event a lot. Let's see. How long can they keep Pereira away from grapplers? Well, the thing is, at 205, it's not like I don't think like the top guys are really necessarily grapplers. Like there are guys that can grapple, like Ankalaev, Blachowicz can grapple, obviously. Krylov. Actually, now I'm looking at it, it's like who's the best grappler? Probably Krylov. Is that fair to say? I mean,
I think Ankalaev is better than Krylov.
Or Ankalaev, yeah, sure. But I'm just because he beat him too. But truthfully, like it's mostly strikers in 205. Look at 205. It's actually kind of crazy when you look at it. Like compared to some other weight classes, all wrestlers and stuff, like this is all strikers. So get some other comments. I think he's in his prime. I think so too. Pereira is just unbelievable. I love this face he has, like that. That's whatever. The Easter Island. Yeah. Fight Talk. What's up, brother? Thanks again for the artwork as always, my friend. Welcome to the chat. Has Goddard ever admitted to making a mistake? Ezekiel is bigger than his talent for me. I mean, I don't think so. He's always on Twitter too. He does like the schools. He's training the guys. Like, I think he's definitely a good ref. There's no doubt about it, Marcel. He's a good ref, but
He's
I think he has stopped some important fights. Like I was at Usman Covington. That fight should not have been stopped, guys. That should have went on a little longer, personally.
For me, he is. Listen, man. Normally, I think he's good, but he's a little bit too loud to me.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm like, dude, you're not talking to a 3-year-old who doesn't listen. You know what I mean? So, before, for example, the Almeida Lewis fight, I know it sucked to watch, but he was acting like he was bored, annoyed. I was like, dude, come on, do a little bit less like that. That's why I'm more of I like Jason Herzog, Mike Beltran.
Sure.
I like these guys more than I like Mark Goddard. I have nothing against Goddard. I think he's a good official, but the style of refereeing, I like Herzog better. I like Beltran better. Goddard's a little bit too loud for me. You know what I mean? And a little bit too, how do you say that? He's
Come on, Jailton Burke.
He's reffing. I don't want to know if I see a fight and after the fight I don't know who the fuck the ref was. That's good,
Yeah. It's like in other sports where you don't know the ref's name. That's a good thing.
Exactly. But for example, in soccer, you always know the ref's name because they suck. But for example, when you watch an MMA fight, you always know when Goddard is the ref. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I'm just reading it actually. Like I googled it. He says he thought he stopped the Usman Covington fight correctly. He says he stopped it to a T. I mean, I don't know about that. Yeah. Anyways, let's get to some other comments. Yeah, pretty much. Other people are talking about Goddard. Stop, Blake. You didn't miss much. We just talked about the main event. All right, let's go to the co-main, Marcel. Tom Aspinall knocks out Sergei Pavlovich first round. I mean, who'd you pick again? I can't remember.
I picked Pavlovich KO first round.
Fair enough. Like I figured it would end quick. Anyways, I had Aspinall. I liked him in this fight and the speed. Right again, Marcel. He's so fast. Pavlovich, like he's a beast. Don't get me wrong. It's just I think he's a little bit slow. I think so. He can take advantage of that against most guys heavyweight. It doesn't matter because he has so much power. But against a guy like Aspinall, who's like just world class, I think Aspinall like has the best chance to beat Jones. I think I've thought that for a while. He's good everywhere, right? He's like he can fight you on the ground too. He's a black belt jiu-jitsu, I believe, and dangerous on the ground. And then of course he's got crazy power. Like think about it, since he's come back from the injury, he had back-to-back first minute knockouts basically over Pereira and Pavlovich. These fights aren't lasting more than a minute really. And then even before that, like Volkov, Spivak, Arlovsky, Bordeaux, Colley, like all these guys. The first couple guys are not good, but like all these guys are like either like top 15 or like former champions. So he's a fucking monster. 7 finishes in the UFC in the first or second round. Arlovsky's the guy who lasted longest with him, Marcel, by the way. But everyone's talking about Pavlovich's streak of the knockouts. But what about Tom Aspinall? I mean, it's pretty impressive. So I think he's super legit. I thought that before the fight. I think that now. I think he would be the guy who gives Jones the best run for his money. I really do. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, what can you say about Aspinall, man? The guy blew his back out, comes to the fight. And he got tagged, early in the fight. But he has an IQ as a fighter, He has a good IQ. He got tagged. He kept his distance at that moment, And then out of nowhere, he tagged Pavlovich and he ended the fight. I mean, 2 weeks notice, barely any training, comes there, knocks him out. I mean, and also Tom, great dude, very nice, nice guy, very humble, very respectful. I really like that, And yeah, I mean, what can you say about it? I'm kind of annoyed by the UFC that they kept Jones as champion, to be really honest, because in my opinion, I know they would still wanted to do Jones Miocic, but let's be really honest. Who wants to see that, man? I wanted to see that 5 years ago. I don't give a shit about that fight, to be honest, right now, It's just to please Jones, in my opinion, They want to see Jones fight Stipe because Stipe is, in the UFC, the best heavyweight ever if you go to resume, And that's why they see Jones, if he can also beat the heavyweight GOAT in the UFC. So let's see if the light heavyweight GOAT can beat the heavyweight GOAT. So it doesn't do anything for me, And also Jones says he can come back in July, so that would maybe say International Fight Week, right? And then what do we do with Aspinall? Is he going to defend the interim title? I'd say let him defend the interim title against Stipe, but Stipe is not going to fight Aspinall. Why would he? Because he's been promised a title shot against Jones. He can wait, So maybe Aspinall against Gane would be a possibility if Aspinall wants to fight and not wants to wait, And it would be a great fight, for example, for pay-per-view in England in March or in April, probably in April or in May. I don't give a shit, but somewhere. Because if Aspinall doesn't take another fight, he probably has to wait till August, September, because I still think if in July the fight between Jones and Stipe takes place, I think both guys retire. So this interim title will be the real heavyweight title, in my opinion. But he has to wait like almost a year before he actually gets instated as the heavyweight champion, which sucks,
Yep.
The UFC should have done the same what they did with Prochazka and Hill, Everybody says they vacated. No, the UFC said, can you vacate it and you get the title shot when you come back. So that's pretty much what they did,
Yep.
And they should have done the same with Jones, but they didn't want to do the same thing with Jones because they don't want it to break up the Jones-Miocic fight, which completely sucks. Legacy fights are fun, but not when the division is blooming, while you got young contenders in the division who want to fight, for the actual title. So for me, Aspinall, in my opinion, is the champion, Jones, I know, is officially the champion, but if he only wants to take that Miocic fight, then I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? And I'm a big Jones fan. I'm a huge Jones fan. I've been a fan from Jones since I saw him the first time fighting, So, but I'm just honest here,
Completely agreed. Yeah, I mean, the situation sucks. Like, no one wanted John to get hurt at 2 weeks before the fight. It sucks. At the same time, I don't really care about that fight right now. Like, I'd rather Aspinall start defending the belt, like you said. I think he will make one title defense. I think he should fight Gane next. I think
why not?
I think so, because there's it's a real sellable fight, right? England versus France. They could do that as a main event on England pay-per-view card. They could easily do that. They could do it in Abu Dhabi. They could do it in the States. They could do it in France. It's a big fight anywhere it goes. So I think that's the fight to make, because Jones is going to be out for a year. So I don't think Tom's going to just want. I mean, he might sit around for a year. I don't think so, though. He just missed a year with that injury. I think he's going to want to keep fighting. So the UFC is going to pay him more money. He's going to take a fight in between. I think him and Gane make sense based on the history, the rivalry between those two guys. And then
it's a big fight in Europe as well.
It's huge, fucking huge. I mean, you can't think of a bigger fight in Europe right now, right?
Yeah.
So that's the fight to make. And then with Pavlovich, I mean, maybe he could fight Almeida. I'm not sure. I know Jailton's actually calling for the title fight, but I don't think after his last fight he would get it. I don't think so.
No.
There's no way. And
I think Jailton should fight either Pavlovich or Blades,
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Gane and Aspinall's a phenomenal fight. It's a great fight. Obviously Jones and Aspinall's that's the fight to make. I don't think people. I could be wrong, but I don't think people care about the Stipe fight. I just think Stipe's been out for too long. He's been out for too long. He's too old now.
We both love Stipe. He's done great things for the sport. And he's such a cool guy as well.
Man.
Yeah,
whatever. Yep.
Yeah, in the UFC, definitely. Great guy. And we both.
That's what I meant to say.
So
Fedor, right?
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I'm still a huge Fedor fan, but it's like. Listen, if there are no contenders in that division, I have no problem with it. But right now you have legit contenders, you got a guy in Tom Aspinall who can go really far, he's a really good fighter. He's complete. And for people saying, like, why the fuck you didn't pick him then? 2 weeks notice, blew out his back, I mean, I didn't know about blowing out his back, but I knew it was 2 weeks notice and he barely had any training. So that's why I picked Pavlovich. But hey, even with that, he knocked him out the first round. And even he said this octagon time percentage sharper because it was quicker than his average.
I know
it's
even shorter than the average fight. I think is the shortest average fight time in UFC history. Yeah. So Aspinall's a monster. This question is interesting. I think they do have to technically offer them fights, but I think they can offer them fights that basically no one will take. You know what I mean? So that will just be Dana saying, "Oh, we've offered you a fight." Like Nate Diaz, remember they would offer him short notice fights, and they'd be like, "Oh, well, we offered him a fight. Now we did 3 a year."
Yeah,
I think they could do that too. It's kind of weird. Stipe hasn't fought forever, so by the time he fights Jones, it'll be 3.5 years. I mean, I just don't. I mean, really, I know Dana said, well, it would be disrespectful for Stipe to fight for an interim belt. The more I think about it, really, he should have been the guy that got asked. When you think about it, he was already trained for this card. He put a whole camp in.
Adam, they can still do the fight, but why does it have to be a title fight? Because they can make it
be
bigger.
A legacy fight.
Yeah.
It could be a legacy belt or something. I know. I agree completely. Listen, Jones is the best ever.
Oh, I
Even
love
Stipe
Jones.
won't change it anyway. He will beat him. I'm just saying it wouldn't change anything. You know, I would always think he's the best guy ever. They keep saying we need to see this fight. We need to see like the best light heavyweight versus the best heavyweight. It's like they're on their prime though. That's the problem. If they were in their prime, yes, but they're not. Go ahead.
You know what fucking fight we should have seen? GSP against Anderson Silva. They never gave us that.
I don't. You know what? The more you look back at it, it's incredible they weren't able to make that fight, especially because like I was in Montreal when GSP fought Carlos Condit. Anderson Silva was in the crowd. That was supposed to be the next fight. Then they were like, oh, he's going to fight Nick Diaz, who was coming off a loss to Condit because it was, you know, wolf tickets and more money. Like, obviously, you know, at that time, but GSP didn't want to move up to middleweight. Like he wanted to, and then obviously the next fight after that, he beat Hendrickson, I think, retired, right? So,
yeah, he came back to when Bisping was champion. Very smart, by the way.
GSP's smart with his career. I mean, he's fought once in the last 10 years, and he's probably the richest MMA fighter ever. But it is amazing. You literally had the best fighters of all time in their weight classes in their primes. Everyone wanted to see that fight. At that point, Marcel, I mean, yeah, looking back, GSP probably would have won, but like I don't know if he would have won at that time. Like Anderson was fucking everyone up in the octagon.
Yeah.
It's too bad we didn't see that fight. Anderson's still in his prime was amazing to watch. I mean, he like again now he's doing the boxing stuff, but man, as a middleweight UFC fighter, he was amazing. Who deserves a title shot more than Stipe? Gone probably. I mean, jail. Like really, like there's a few guys like that you'd say deserve it, but again, it's because of the legacy, right? Who would you pick if Aspinall fights John? I don't know. I was about to say Aspinall, but again, like I don't want to the recency, but I need to think about it. You know, I really don't know, guys. Go ahead.
You know what it is, Knox? It's not going to happen, so I don't have to think about it.
Yeah, it won't even happen. I feel like people aren't giving Stipe a chance against John, and that's why some people don't like it. Yeah, I don't that too, Antoine, but it's just because of the layoff and because really there's the sport kind of I don't want to say the sports passed him by, but the divisions passed him by. There's other guys in the division that are more deserving, that are more like in their primes, like a Gone and Aspinall. I think it's just such an interesting fight, personally. You know, I think the fight makes just a total amount of sense, but we'll see what they do. Because, like again, Marcel, like you said, it would be a really big fight in Europe, and Gone is coming off that great win over Sergei. His only losses to Jones and to Nagano. I'm pretty sure he'll get the next title shot. I think that's what we'll do. We should move on to the next fight, though. We've spent a lot of time on these two title fights. Yes, that was rebooked on Uncle Ivan Walker. First main event 2024. Oh, my God.
Is that a third Tafa brother? I don't know.
Yeah. That question must be Joe Pato. Mackenzie Dern, like I said, guys, I got every fight right except for the draw, I guess. And like, who's going to take a draw? But this fight's the only one I got wrong on the whole card. I was like, okay, this has been a great night. Let's just get her down to the ground. Let's submit her and make this an easy night at the office. I mean, talk about fucking someone up. I mean, Jessica Andrade just fucked up Mackenzie Dern everywhere this fight went. 4 knockdowns in this fight by Jessica Andrade. She looked like prime Jessica Andrade. Dern looked like she just started boxing for the first time. Like, what the hell is this? I gotta be honest with you, I was very concerned once I looked at, when she was doing they put the Vaseline in that Harley Davidson checkpoint, and I'm looking around like, hey, where's Jason Perillo? And I'm looking because I didn't know he wasn't with her anymore. I didn't know. I should have obviously known that. I didn't know that. And then it's just her dad, and I know he's a jiu-jitsu guy and he's your father, right? But like, I'm like, where's Jason Perillo? What's going on here? She had fired him. I don't know what happened there. Talk about bad decisions. Like, Mackenzie Dern, her last fight dropped Angel Hill. She was showing better improved striking, 126 significant striking landing. I know a lot on the ground, but a lot on the feet too, and gets rid of her boxing coach after the best performance of her career. I don't get it. Why would you make any changes to your camp, really? Like, it doesn't really make sense. I don't know what happened. I know she's dealing with a lot with the divorce thing. I get that, but like, it's kind of bizarre that she would get rid of him. Like, I don't know what the whole story is. I got to read into it, I guess. I don't know if you know more about it, but yeah.
Women never make sense. So, I mean, let's be honest.
I don't get it.
Neither do I. That fight, is like, was Andrade that great or was Dern that bad? I mean, Dern tried to take her down in the beginning, but she didn't really could hold her down. And it actually was done after the first round when she got knocked down at the end of the round, because she never pretty much recovered. She got knocked down 3 more times in the second round, and so the moment it got stopped. Maybe she could have got stopped even earlier, I think,
I think
but man, for me, like Dern, this was like her third chance to get in the top echelon of the division, and the third time she shit the bed. She shit the bed against Marina Rodriguez, she shit the bed against Yan Shonan, and she shit the bed again, even worse this time. First time she gets stopped in an MMA fight.
Yep.
I really feel like that we don't see gonna see Mackenzie Dern fight for a title in the future, man. I really don't see it happening, to be really honest, because she keeps making. Listen, man, I'm not a coach, but she keeps making the same mistakes. With her boxing, her takedowns are still like she struggles with getting people to the ground. When she gets them to the ground, it's good, but she struggles with that a lot. And Andrade looked good, man. I'm actually very happy for Andrade. I like Dern a lot, but I'm happy for Jessica. She came from 3 horrible losses, 3 stoppage losses against Blanchfield, Jan, and against Suarez. And now she finally gets a win. She's her 5th fight this year. Now she got a win, and it's a good win, man. It pretty much reestablished her in the division, I feel like. Yeah, I'm happy for Jessica, but I didn't expect this to happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't see this coming. Looking back at it, obviously, like Dern's actual wrestling is not great, and Andrade, if she did keep the fight standing, theoretically would have been the better striker, right? Even regardless of the coaching change. So, like, yeah, I mean, obviously, I wrote Jessica off a little too soon, clearly after the 3 straight losses, because if you look back at it, she lost to 3 top 5 fighters. So, yeah, I mean, she looked great. There's nothing else to say. I mean, Jessica, I've talked about it. Like, she to me is a Hall of Famer. I think she'll be in the Hall of Fame one day. Like, if you look at her body of work and the opponents she's fought and the bonuses she's won and the knockouts she's had and the submissions and the title run, I mean, she's been incredible. So, fucking weird year for her too. Also getting divorced. Winning her first fight, losing 3 straight by finish, and then winning her last fight. You got to be happy for Jessica a little more. So, like, she's such a great fighter,
Yeah,
great.
sure.
Just a great representative of the sport, and really, like, yeah, this sucked that this was the only thing I got wrong, but like when Jessica, she, if anyone, I should have given a little bit more credit to coming this fight. So really, in the end, it was my fault not to think about the fight a little bit more, I guess, because I really just looked at it. I thought it'd be a very one-sided fight for Dern. I thought she would get the fight to the ground and submit her easily. Personally.
I think a lot of people were thinking that we were not the only ones. So
Fair enough.
yeah, just a very bad read from both of us. I mean, it happens,
sure.
It happens.
Read. Yeah,
but you can show people your co-main and main event. I pick all 3 wrong. So
for sure. No, like I said, I was glad to get those right. All right. Let's see here. Why Dern divorced and Wesley? Well, I mean, people, like, I'm going through it too. I mean, not divorce, but separation. And, you grow apart and, things happen. People change, right? That's really what it comes down to. People change. It's not like they were together forever. I want to say they were together for 5-6 years. They do have a daughter together, right? So do I with my ex. And that's the difficult. I think that's the difficult part, really, Marcel, when you have kids. It's not really
because
adults.
you never get rid of the how do you say that, the other part, because you're always connected with the kids.
100%. Yep, exactly. All right, let's get to the next fight here. Benoit Saint-Denis knocks out Matt Frevola, head kick, first round. I mean, what else to say? Guy's a fucking beast. 5-1 now, 5-0 at lightweight. It's crazy, right? Because again, his debut gets fucking destroyed by Dos Santos, and that's who was the ref for that fight? Vladislav
Kiselev, yeah.
Vladislav Kiselev, and I think he used to fight in MMA.
Yeah, he fought Gilbert Ivel.
That's right. You told me that. I think he was basically banished from the UFC. Dana, if he's really pissed, he will make sure you never work for him again. And not for him, but the UFC card, because he has more pull than he says. The other guy was Leon Roberts, the fight with Jan and Aldo, and it was really late stoppage. Remember that? And Dana was like, "This guy's not reffing for me again." He never did. So the guys on Fight Island, Dana has a lot of control over those guys. I should clarify that. Anyway, Saint-Denis, 5 straight wins by stoppage. Okay, well, I'll be honest. So I think he's incredible. I really do. I think that this guy should get fast-tracked into the top 5. I'm not even joking. I think he should. I think he could beat guys. I think he beats a lot of the guys at the bottom end in the top 15. And I look at the weight class. You guys will laugh, maybe.
Who you beat him up? Who you match him up with? No.
I want to see him fight Poirier. That's the fight I want to see.
Okay, I match him up with Gamrot.
I look at that. So we're saying the number 3 and 6 guy. I mean, you know what? Maybe 3 is high up, but here's the thing with Poirier. I was thinking, my friends were talking about this the other day at the bar. Like, Poirier doesn't have a natural dance partner right now. He's the one guy that's kind of like doesn't have a guy that he should be fighting. I was looking at other weight classes for him. Maybe he could move up to 170s. Talked about it. Maybe he could fight Covington if he loses, because I know they have bad beef. But there's not really a clear fight for him unless
That's
they bring
true.
back like a Nate Diaz. So I'm thinking, why the fuck not? And I understand that this guy just got in the rankings, but I think they have something special here. Dana White's kind of said that too, Mark. So I don't know if you saw his press conference. Like, he just said, like, this guy's a badass. Like, he's fucking good. He's huge for them in France. I think Dana said he wants him to headline a card in France. So I'm just saying, I think Poirier, because he doesn't have a dance partner, they won't do that fight, let's be honest. But why not do Gamrot and him? Why not do that fight? And do that as a main event in France?
Yeah, I like it a lot, actually.
You like it, right? Yeah, me too. And the thing is, with Gamrot, right, like, we all love him, but the Fiziev fight, he actually lost the first round, I believe, on the scorecards, and then he won by injury, right? So I don't think you get a title shot off that, personally. You know, and I understand, you know, he was the backup for that last fight. He didn't end up fighting, but I just don't think that gives you a title shot. That fight makes a lot of sense because the other guys are all booked. Go ahead.
He was also the backup because just in case he couldn't make the weight on short notice for that card.
Yeah. Also, Rafael Dos Anjos should not be the top 15 anymore.
He's not fighting at lightweight anymore. Yeah.
Why is he not in? He should be taken out.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then
you know what? I want to see Benoit Saint-Denis against Gamrot, and I think if Arman gets the win against Dariush, I want to see Arman against Poirier. You know,
that makes sense. Well, they're both training ATT, so right, don't they? Or does Arman train there anymore? Or no, I can't.
Yeah, he does. But Arman, I mean, I think even Moicano and Dawson said they want to fight Arman. So
they did. They want to fight him. Okay, so he's kind of like the black sheep there a little bit. It makes sense. But yeah, Gamrot's the fight right now, I think. Because again, I think Poirier's good. They might do like a Jalen Turner too. They could do something like that, or even like a Bobby Green, McCain, or someone like that. They could do those fights, but I think Benoit's shown that he is like upper echelon at this point. And I understand like the guys he fought are not top 5 guys, but he hasn't fought them yet, so we don't know how good or bad he really is. All I know is this guy is only 27.
He's young, dude.
Yeah,
he looks older actually.
He looks older than me and you, to be honest with you. He was a guy that was in was a French sniper or something. Like he's a hard dude, right? Like he's tough, you know. So we knew he'd be tough. He's only been doing like jiu-jitsu and wrestling for like just a few years. Like he's new to MMA. This guy's like he's like him and Gon. Really, it's crazy. Both of them from France. Like they both like is really taken to the sport quickly. And that's the crazy thing about the sport. It's like back in the day, Marcel, you'd have to like train for your whole life in different disciplines to be good, right? And now it's like these guys are all so well-rounded. This guy is crazy striking, a crazy ground game. Marcel, I think he's super fucking legit, man. I really do.
It's so weird that his second fight, I think his second pro fight, you should look it up. I think he fought in Belgium for a Stardom MMA title. And I was there. I didn't know.
Really?
You know, I was there, yeah. So I saw him win that fight. I didn't know.
He might be a future champ, man. I think he honestly could be. I really do. I see it right now in Antwerp, right?
Yeah.
Dude, he's only been fighting since 2019. Like he's very new to the sport, you know. I think he beats most of the guys in the top 15, like in that top 5 to 15 range. The top 5 guys are all so fucking good. Even the top 10 guys are good. I'm looking at right now, but all those guys in the top 15, in the 10 to 15 range, I think he beats them all right now, personally.
I mean, if you are in the top 15 in the UFC lightweight division, you can fight. You know what I mean?
So, yeah. I mean, it's a fucking meat grinder. Yeah. Again, they could always do him against Drew Dober as a headliner of a France fight night easily. I just think he's past those guys. I just think he's like really good, but we'll see. 5 fights, 22 months, all finishes, probably in less than 50 show. Yeah, I mean, he needs a new contract if he doesn't have one already. BSD's best French MMA fighter. I still think it's gone, but I mean, he's the second best. Yeah, Fierro is good, but still not 100% sold on Manon. I want to see more from him too. All right, that's it for that fight. And then opening up the main card, we had Diego Lopez pulling off a huge knockout win here over Pat Sabatini. I picked Lopez. I want to say you picked him too, right? He was our dog of the week last week. He was our consensus dog. This fight was not close. I thought the fight would go I didn't know if it'd end this quick, but I figured he would, eventually win the fight.
I had a decision.
Yeah. I thought it would be more of a grappling fight. Of course, it turns out to be a stand-up fight. Wow. I mean, what else to say? This guy again, three fights at the UFC this year since May, 3 bonuses, 2 wins. Again, a guy that UFC probably sees money signs in their eyes from, and he's going to, keep pushing him up ladder. And again, he's actually, his next fight will be his 30th pro fight. So he's very experienced, but he's obviously hitting his prime. He's only 28. He's turning 29 next month. He's a fucking beast. Who should he fight? I think obviously a top 15 guy, right? 100%, right?
Man, Diego is such a great story, He fought on short notice on the Contender Series. You know, he fought Joe Anderson Brito. He replaced Ashkabov back then. Lost by
Was it
technical
like an
decision.
eye poke or something? I want to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
technical decision.
Yeah.
But he lost the fight.
Yeah.
You know, then he goes to Fury, fights for the title, gets robbed, in my opinion, in that fight. You know, so now he's on a 2-fight losing skid. I think he wins 2 fights, and he gets the call from to how do you say that to fight Evloev.
Yeah.
You know, and
Sure.
he was staying at his manager's house, I think, in the US, because he lives in Mexico. He's training with Grasso and Alessandro Costa, and Godinez is also now on the team.
Okay.
So he gets that fight. Dude, first round great against Evloev, becomes an instant fan favorite. You know, after that fight, wins against Gavin Tucker in the first round. His star rises even more, and now he gets that knockout win over Pat Sabatini, which is amazing. I think many people don't know how underrated Pat Sabatini is, you know, because Pat Sabatini is really good. Yeah, he only lost in the UFC to Damon Jackson. He won all of his other fights. So in the UFC, then I said.
He's 6-2 now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, great win, you know, great win for Lopez. And he showed he has hands. Normally, he's really like a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter, you know, but he showed he has hands. And good for him, man. Also, super nice guy. I've talked to him before as well. He doesn't really, I text him sometimes, you know, and he texts back in English, so he understands what I'm saying. But yeah, really nice guy, man, and I hope he does well. And I think top 15, yeah, why not? I mean,
100%.
It's 145. You can match him up with so many guys, even just outside the top 15. There are so many fun fights for him to make, you know. So yeah,
it's ridiculous. Like, I'm just looking at the top 15. I mean, him and Bryce Mitchell would be fun, wouldn't it? I think that fight would be great.
Yeah, I like it.
Even like, honestly, even like a Barboza would be fun. Like any of these guys, Yusuf, Ige, Murphy, Caceres, those guys in that 10-15 range, that's where he should be.
I give him Alex Caceres, to be honest. I give him Alex Caceres because Alex Caceres,
I think he wins that fight.
Alex Caceres is pretty much, and it's no disrespect to Alex, but he's kind of like a gatekeeper of the division. You know what I mean? And he's still really good. So I like that one.
Yeah. I agree. I completely agree. Diego Lopez, I completely forgot he lost that fight after Contender to Nate Richardson, and then he's won 4 of his last 5. 3 of his last 4 wins are by knockout. So he actually does have hands when you don't think of him as a striker, but 9 of his wins are by knockout, 12 by submission, 2 by decision. So he's a finisher. The more I look at it, it's like, why did we ever think this fight was going 3 rounds? Because the guy he can finish you. Yeah, I think this fight makes sense. Lopez, the best emo fighter. You gotta love the hair, right? Like he's got that that front. He looks like the lead singer of, oh my god, what's that band called? Like AFI, maybe. I think that's the band. Yeah, it kind of looks like him. Anyways, yeah, those like early 2000 emo bands. Panic at the Disco. That's the other one. All right.
The other day, my dad said like this teammate of Sean Strickland. I said, who do you mean? He's like the guy's always with him. I said, oh, Chris Curtis. Yeah, he looks like Reece James. I was like, I look at Reece James is, by the way, a football player from Chelsea. You should look him up. Look him up and tell me if you think he looks like him.
How do you spell Reece?
Reece, R-E-E-C-E.
Oh, okay, I thought it was the other one, like that Reece the key guy. Reece. The hair?
Reece James.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah. That's funny. All right, I say for the prelims, we kind of go through them quick because we actually talked quite a bit about the main card, which I think was deserved, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, this fight makes sense too. Frevola and Dawson.
Yeah,
that makes
you can do that.
sense. And Dawson's out of the rankings now. It's kind of harsh for him to lose one and then get kicked out. But you know, if RDA leaves, then he should take his spot. Anyways, let's get back to the card. Yeah, Steve Erceg beats Alessandro Costa. I don't think a lot to say about this fight. He looked pretty good, but it was actually a pretty competitive fight, I think. Just basically held him against the fence in the last round. I think he took him down. Yeah, he got one takedown in the last round. Basically won a control. It wasn't as impressive as his debut, but he's still 2-0 in the UFC. Any quick thoughts on this one? I don't think a lot to take from this fight.
Yeah, Steve Carell against Kun Aguero. Yeah, it was a fun fight. I think it was competitive. I think Erceg won 2 rounds out of 3, in my opinion. He did what he had to do, man. He had an interview with us with the US Sport Discovery Plus, and our guy who was there, Neil, he said like it was a great fight to watch. And Ertzak was looking at him. He's like, I actually didn't really like it, but thank you. He's like, I did what I had to do to get the win in the third round. He said he wasn't happy with the performance, but I mean, a little bit harsh on himself, I think. He won against Dvorak, got in the rankings, was supposed to fight Match now, could have got a top 10 position, had to fight Costa, which I think was a much harder fight probably for him. Yeah, good win, man, for Ertzak. Interesting fighter to keep an eye on, I think.
I agree. He's definitely good. There's no doubt. Oh yeah, that butterfly soup was beautiful in that first fight. Yeah, Benoit Saint is a monster, dude. All right, let's get back to the other fights. This one too. I personally, this fight I think was just an okay fight. Lupi Godinez defeats Tabitha Ricci. They basically like cancel each other out in the grappling, so it was a stand-up fight.
We have to talk about this.
Sure. Someone had mentioned in the chat first off that Tabitha wasn't credited with any knockdowns. I thought she dropped Lupi. I think it was the end of the second round and stole that round.
First round.
First round, yeah. So she dropped her at one point and wasn't credited. I thought it was. I'd have to look back. They might have considered it a slip or she was like off balance, but it looked like a knockdown at the time. I thought Lupi won 29-28. I don't like this 30-27 scorecard for Ricci. You could argue I think she can win 2 rounds, I guess, but I don't know about this one, man. That was a weird scorecard. I'm okay with the decision, though. I thought Lupi won 2 of the 3 rounds.
Adam,
yeah.
Let's be honest, man. Brian Miner, who scored at 30-27, he's just a booty lover, He also scored the first round for Mackenzie Dern against Jessica Andrade.
God, that's even worse, though, I think.
Yeah.
Like, at least this fight was like, it's a shitty kickboxing fight, really. That's what it was. I don't think it was that great of a fight. I don't know.
Also,
did you like it, really?
I think it was a fun. I honestly think it was a fun fight.
Yeah, I shouldn't say shitty kickboxing, but it's not. That's a little harsh. But it wasn't my favorite. Of all the fights in the card, Marcel, this one and the Castaneda fight were probably my least favorite fights. That's just the truth.
I got to talk about the second round here because the commentary team was like, "Oh, she knocked her down again." Wasn't a fucking knockdown. What are they talking about? Even in the replay, they were like, "Oh, she knocked her down again," and then they're like super upset that one judge scored it for Ricci, and I was like, you now come by like think like it wasn't, for some reason. It was clearly not a knockdown that second round, it was kind of a push and a slip at the same time, and you should see that in my opinion, as a commentary team.
That's fair.
I mean, Lupi won in my opinion. I was really shocked by the 30-27. I was like, what the hell is happening here, 29-28, yeah.
Oh, bad scorecard. Mateusz Rebecki defeats Roosevelt Roberts by injury. Well, I mean, it really was a submission, right? But he injured him. I think it's a legit win, though, with the armbar, right? What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I think so, It was pretty quick. He got his back very, very quick. Went for the rear naked choke, didn't work, and then he went for the armbar. Yeah, and if you listen, man, if you're not watching a lot of MMA and you look at the size difference, you are thinking like, holy shit, this big guy is fighting this small Polish guy, But Rebecki is just really good. I think it was a 16th win, back to a consecutive win. Listen, man, Roosevelt Roberts, I think he deserves a second chance in the UFC, but I think this was a bad matchup, but it's good for him. He's back in the UFC, and sometimes you have to take a fight to get back somewhere, and he's there now. And now we should go try to get a full training camp and start his really second stint in the UFC, I feel.
Yeah, he'll get another fight. I know he missed weight, but I don't think they care. It's short notice. Just to get Rebecki a fight. Fight of the night, Nazim Sadikov, Slava Borshev draw. I thought it was a great fight. I thought Sadikov looked really good. I thought he mixed it up really well. Obviously, dropped Borshev, won a 10-8 round, but Slava's striking looked great too. It was just a great fight. Draw's fine. What do you think?
Would you pick this as fight of the night?
I'm glad you know what? I'm never gonna hate on it because they gave out 7 bonuses. So
Would you pick this as fight of the night of all the fights?
I would have picked Joshua Van versus Kevin Boreas.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yes, me too. That's why I love you. Yes.
Maybe Dana didn't watch that fight. He must have not watched it.
Yeah, he probably
I hate it with Donald Trump and Kid Rock.
He was still picking up Trump and Kid Rock in the back.
I don't think he watched the fight. I really don't, because that fight I thought was the fight of the night. This was a great fight, though. Don't get me wrong. It was obviously exciting. You're okay with the draw, I'm assuming? I mean,
I was kind of shocked with how Nazim fought him. I was like, dude, listen, man, I'm not a fighter. take him the fuck down because he can't stop a takedown. And you saw that he can't stop a takedown. But Prochazka was doing more damage in the first and third round. And that's why you won. The second round, it was a 10-8 for me as well, pretty much, So I'm okay with the draw. But I was like, Nazim, I don't know what he makes in the UFC, but maybe he made more with that 50K bonus than he did if he got a win. I have no idea. Maybe that's true. You never know. Because he might be on 12 plus 12, 14 plus 14. And now he make 15K because of the fight of the night. So but I feel like I said last week, one of the most easiest picks of the card wasn't one of the most easiest picks because Nazim had a different game plan than I expected. But I think if he takes him down, he wins the fight. But
no, it was a competitive one. Jared Gordon knocks out Mark Madsen. He should have got a bonus too, don't you think?
Yeah.
Why did he not get a bonus? That's not fair.
I have no idea, man. And Jared Gordon, gotta say, Jared Gordon is such a good dude as well. Such a humble, nice guy. Came from, I think he overdosed like years ago. Is clean for years now. Always wants to help everybody. Great win, man, for him in New York. Meant so much to him. I'm so happy for the dude. He's like a super positive guy. I've interviewed him before as well. Jared Gordon, one of the real good guys in MMA. There are a lot of good guys, but he's a real good guy. So I'm really happy for him. And Mark Madsen, I think Mark Madsen is really on the decline now. You know what I mean? I think he's getting older, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think he's on the decline. He didn't look good in his last fight against Grant Dawson, and in my opinion, he also didn't look good in this one, to be really honest. So
yeah, he's getting cut. I'm pretty sure. I remember this guy saying, Marco, what's up, man? He said Gordon was winning against Green. He was. And actually, I picked Gordon, and I was like, oh, man, he's going to win as a plus 200 dog. I actually ran into him in Vegas back in July. So we were waiting for Nick and Johnny. Actually, no, Johnny was there. We were waiting for Nick for dinner. It was me, James, Johnny, and what's his name, Marcus. I think Marcus is in the chat. We're all waiting at the sports book in New York. And then Jared Gordon walked by with Jason Stroud, your boy, the coach. Started talking to Jared, and I'm like, dude, you got completely fucked. And I mentioned to him, I know like Alex had spoken to you, Alex Bahunin, a friend of ours, obviously a friend of the show, spoken to him about like just how bad his year's been. Remember Alex was talking about that? Yeah. Like, so he was just like, yeah, it's been a shitty year, and like it's like not fair, man. And like I understand how he feels. Like it's shitty because he had that fight canceled where he admitted to having a concussion, I think. They're like, we can't fight. And then I think Mick Maynard or Sean Shelby was like pretty pissed off at him. One of the matchmakers was. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like Jared though. He's a good guy. But anyways, the funny thing was, my friend was there. My friend I came with me from Toronto, and he's a big UFC fan, but he doesn't know all the fighters like us, right? So I'm like, hey, this is Jared Gordon. He's like, what's your name? He's like, Jared. I'm like, dude, he's in the UFC. He's like, oh shit, I had no idea. I'm like, this is the guy who fought Patty last year. What are you talking about? Fucking casual. Yeah, fucking casual there. But no, it was funny. He's a good fighter, man. Gordon's been around for a while now. He's been UFC since 2017. His record is 8-5 and 1 no contest. I mean, it's not bad, right? He has good wins over Madsen. Selecki is a good win. Leo Santos at the time was decent, and then obviously he should have beaten Patty. Like he won that fight, So he's a good fighter, man.
I had that one time, Adam. I was at the local show in Belgium, and there was two Brazilians were on the card. One was coaching, and the other one was fighting. And that coach looked so familiar to me, but I didn't know who he was. But I had an interview, and he was standing next to me. I was like, dude. I was like, dude, I really like your coaching, man. I can't fucking understand Portuguese. I really like your coach. He's like, yeah, thank you, brother, thank you. I said, can I follow you on Instagram? He's like, yeah, for sure. So he shows me. I think his name was Luis Filho. I don't know, but he was Mr. Cage champion. So in Brazil. So I was like, okay, I follow you. He's like, I follow you back. Okay, cool. So I didn't have to ask him who he was, but he looked so familiar to me. It's so stupid, years ago.
I completely agree. Gordon versus Robesky, Dober. I mean, those fights. Robesky should be fighting a top 15 guy. I think him and Dober would be fun. This fight again, I didn't love this fight. John Castaneda defeats Kong Ho Kong. He looked decent, but I don't know. Kong didn't really fight that well. Anything you want to say from this fight? I didn't really care about it that much.
Yeah, man, I probably was happy for Castaneda's sister that her brother won. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it was a good fight. I mean, I think John did better than I expected. I think I think one round I thought Kang won. I think was the first round. He got 30-27 pretty, I think, Castaneda. But Castaneda himself said as well that he thought that Kang won the first round, So I thought the same thing, and I think he pulled it away in the second and third round. Better cardio, better output, better overall. Deserve for him for Castaneda, man. So happy for him.
Yeah, he's good. Good fighter too. 4-2 in the UFC. Now here's my fight of the night. Joshua Van defeats Kevin Borges.
Great fight.
Yeah, oh yeah. Borges won the first round, was looking good, and then got tired, right? And then Van really started pouring it on. 77 significant strikes landed in the second round, 59 in the third round, 156 significant strikes landed for Joshua, the fearless Van, from Myanmar, the first fighter from there. He landed 49 punches to the body. The body work was beautiful, combinations to the body. It was an amazing fight to watch. Borges, I think he's really good too. I think he beats a lot of the other guys in the flyweight division. Just this was a very hard fight. I think Josh Van. I mean, I think the sky's the limit. I think he'll be fighting for a belt one day. I really do. What do you think?
Really good, man. Josh Van looked really good in the fight. I think the first one, Borges looked really good. Borges looked really good. I think in my opinion, he won that round.
Yeah.
But man, Van came back. Beautiful combos to body punches to the faces, to the face punches, combos, low, high. Great output, man. Yeah, I'm impressed by the dude. I was impressed against Zalgas. I'm impressed against Borges. So, yeah, looking forward to what's next for him. I think he deserves a top 15 guy, man. I really think so.
Yeah.
And by the way, kudos to the UFC to redo this fight, which actually was supposed to happen on the Contender Series.
Yeah. And then the last fight, Jamal Emmers, or the first fight really, Jamal Emmers knocks out Dennis Bazooka first minute. Missed weight, doesn't get a bonus. He would have got one otherwise. So that was a costly pound that he missed by. But, I mean, Emmers is good. We already knew that, right? So I hope they give Bazooka one more. Because his first fight was short notice, but he hasn't looked that good in the UFC, obviously. But yeah, Emmers now 3-3, so he's just 500, but I feel like he's better than that personally. Any thoughts on this fight? Quick thoughts?
Yeah, I mean this was a really quick fight, right? I think Emmers did really well, and like I said to you, I think Emmers is underrated. I think Emmers got screwed against Jenkins. He did well against Sabatini, actually, but he got caught because he went to the ground with Sabatini while he had knocked him down, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I like Emmers. I think he's great. He's good. You know what I mean? He's very solid. And I was happy for him. He got the win, definitely after that Jenkins fight where I thought he won, but he didn't get the decision. So, yeah.
He should have won that fight, too. Anyways, that's it for UFC 295. 9 out of 10 for me. I think Marcel said 9.5, so it was a great card. A couple other thoughts here. We'll answer a couple because we're going to start the new podcast in a minute here for UFC Vegas 82. I think 82, right, Marcel?
Yeah, Vegas 82. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on May Joey? He's in the Discord chat. I mean, I don't have an issue with Joey. We don't see eye to eye on everything. I mean, he had some outlandish takes at points, but he's been nice to me, so I don't have an issue with him. I don't know about you, Marcel, if you want to add anything, but.
Let's put it this way. We never interacted. I don't have a problem with him, but I don't want to interact with some of his takes. Let's put it.
Yeah, I mean, again, the thing is, a lot of his takes are kind of outlandish, but we have talked a little bit in the Discord, and I haven't had an issue with him. And
for example,
Discord, by the way.
Yeah, I really don't like the thing that he goes after Jamal Hill on Twitter.
Yeah, it's a little odd. And so is Ariel, right? I don't know. Everyone goes after Jamal. It's kind of weird. Josh Van, Tyson Nam. Yeah, I think Nam did. I think he got released, but that would have been a good fight. But no, Van should get top 15 now. He's ready. Yeah. Okay, let me give a fight for Van. I really like this kid, Marcel. I get excited watching him fight, man. He's good.
Me too.
David Dvorak's ranked number 15. Does he have a fight booked? David Dvorak, the Undertaker?
I don't know, actually. I don't think he has.
Well, then that's the fight then. Give him a chance to be in the top 15. I think he deserves it, Because honestly, I think if he fights, I know Alex Perez has a lot of experience, but Marcel, I think he could win that fight. I think he could beat a match now. I think he could beat those guys, but you kind of have to work your way up. He needs to get at least one more win before he gets one of those, elite guys. Or not elite, but, top 10. It looks like Conor won't be headlining 300. Really? He said that? I thought Conor and Chandler.
Yeah, Kavanaugh was at the MMA hour, and he said like that they were pushing for UFC 300 or whatever. Or no, for UFC 300, but it's more likely that he fights in the summer. So I think they probably put him in an international
Really,
fight week.
man. When is Chandler going to fight again? Jesus.
Probably never.
Who's dropped off the most? Mackenzie Durham. I mean, that question's easy to answer. You know, she went from like, you know, a really good up and coming future contender to, I just think she got so exposed in this fight. I don't know how she's going to bounce back from it. Can she? I don't think so. Do you think?
This is the third time pretty much, that she got a shot at top 5 and that she didn't show up, in my opinion. And this was probably the worst showing.
The other fights with like Jan and was it Marina Rodriguez, they were like competitive. This one was just, it was a blowout. It was a fucking blowout. Also, forgot to ask, what do you think of Pereira? Pereira and Sonya. They could do that fight at 300. That's another fight. I don't mind this fight. We were asking about who should fight next. I mean, really, it should be Hill. But if Hill's going to be out for a while, then I think Sonya Pereira does make sense at 205. I think it makes sense. The trilogy in the UFC. I don't really care if they fought. They fought what, 3 times in kickboxing or twice? Was it twice?
2 times. Yeah. 2 times.
Yeah. Yes, Leroy and Almeida got canceled, which sucks because I actually liked Almeida. He was an underdog, and I thought he was going to win. You believe it went through either Vanner Boris wouldn't be in the UFC. Oh, yeah, it's true with the Contender Series. Yeah. That keep seeing Dana's talking about Marcel's crush, Amy Kaplan and stuff. Yeah, yeah. Well, she, hey, she's found her niche with the slap fighting. I don't have an issue with Amy personally. Do I agree with some of her coverage all the time? No, but I think Dana, he's like, hey, she made a ton of like views off that TikTok. I don't have TikTok. I've never used TikTok. You have TikTok?
I have it, but I never use it.
I've literally never used it. I've seen some of the videos that people post on Twitter after or YouTube. I've never used TikTok. So for me, it's like, I don't even know how it works. What does 1 million views mean? Is that someone just scrolling their feed and it counts? Like, I don't know.
I don't know, dude. I never posted something on TikTok. I have it, but I never posted something on it.
I do know that you can, become popular on there and make money, though. So I'll say that. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Sign Collectibles. I know. With the Jones not fighting on it. Didn't see Dane talking about Natalia Silva. Natalia's actually got a fight coming up, guys. I think Marcel.
I know the fight, but I don't know the date. And I want to know the
hope
date
he can break it at some point, Hey, Steve Versailles, he didn't look very good in that fight, honestly. He won, but it wasn't that impressive. Look at this. Connor Chandler is it ever going to happen? Loopy, long fight win streak. Does she face top 5? She's number, let's see here, Loopy, Godinez. Right now, 13. She beat number 10. Yeah, she could fight someone. Does Marina Rodriguez have a fight book?
I don't think so.
That's the fight to make. That's the one. And Marina looked incredible against Watterson. Mm-hmm. So, she'll be fighting a good version of her. I think that's the fight, Marcel. That would be good. I think that's the fight. It just makes sense. Number 8. You give her that step up. She's 10, 8 versus 10. Makes sense. Third slot, Blanchfield, drop and draw. It could do that too. I mean, that's the thing. Andrade's striking in that fight did not look very good, and then the grappling looked bad in all the fights. So I just never saw it coming. I honestly never saw it coming, Marcel, like this. All right, I think that's good though, guys, for this card. UFC 295. It's in the books now. Great card, great event. Marcel, let's end this podcast. We're going to start a new podcast here in just a minute, guys. I'm looking forward to talking about UFC Vegas AEQ with you guys. So hope everyone will join us in just a minute here. I'll tweet it out and join us in about 2 or 3 minutes here, guys. Talk to you guys soon.